Well, as you've seen, historically we're having a time like none other in our country's history. And there are now questions as to should we allow politicians with money to succeed in their attempt at state capture? The question is no. Then what do we do as Nigerians? We've now started coming together to try to have arguments, discussions about nationalism, about nations building in Nigeria. And that's why you've seen us come here. This was actually thought about by the Ohaneze, as you've seen, they've brought everybody together to ask those questions. And as you've heard, in concluding part, it was suggested that experts come together and try to harness the truth and the takeaways from this gathering. We are talking about Nigerian project. We are discussing nation building. And a lot of commentators have told us you cannot have nation building without equity, justice, and fairness. And that's exactly where we are. So it brings us to who best, what best, how best should we go about it? Someone like me who believes that in trying to bring a closure to the civil war, Nigerians should look towards the Obi Presidency positively. And I think this is where all this is going to. The Ohaneze are now making their case that you cannot ask the Igbo to become part of Nigeria without being fair to them when issues reaches that should favor them, that should also give them an honest sense of belonging in the Nigerian project. We are here today to talk about Nigeria. It's easy to say Nigeria, that's nation. You can't talk about Nigeria without thinking about its people. Diversity. Today the Igbos stand as the largest single ethnic group in West Africa amongst all its indigenous people. They are in Nigeria the richest. They are the largest investors in direct domestic investment. And they are, by WAEC computations, the largest that have acquired education. If you don't, the Yorubas were the first in number. Today the Igbos dominate Nigeria in education, as can be seen by the statistics from WAEC, JEMB, and the National Universities Commission. Okay. So you cannot sustain on nation building and pretend such a large concentration of people that makes so much sense in your economy, in your social calculations, and in your politics. You want to keep them out. No, it cannot be. We can, through the inclusion of the Igbos in the scheme of things, end all the agitations for separatism. And I believe this is it. So we should see that the agitation for separatism embarked upon by the young are a consequence of Buhari's attempt to actually institutionalize his embrace and employment of nepotism as policy. I believe the questions we're asking now at this talk show, if we find the true answers to them, we will be able to find the path towards building an inclusive Nigeria where the aspirations of our diverse heterogeneous society are protected, are embraced, carried along, and also worked upon.
Now, Dr. Katch, when Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed was making his presentation, he called on Ndi Igbo to put their house in order, inadvertently eliciting the feeling that the Igbos are disorganized as it concerns 2023. Now, listening to that speech by Hakim Baba Ahmed, do you think Igbos have to, or has it been in the interest of Ndi Igbo to queue behind one person, or as many would accuse Ndi Igbo of putting their eggs in one basket? What's your take?
Well, the Igbos have, for the current period, done something they've never done before. They have actually sat down and have strategically looked at all the candidates that have come forward, seen the best as determined by national acclaim, national perception. And that is Peter Obi, and that's why they followed him. Yes, there are members of the Igbo transactional elite who are not very happy at the sudden surge of Peter Obi in the perception, thoughts, and rankings of a lot of people across the country. And they have been employed. The last of them employed was Professor Soludo, who was told by Mr. Atiku Abubakar If you can, like Amechi worked for Mr. Buhari, help me kill your brother. After I rule as president, I'll make you president. But I will tell you, you have seen also how Amechi ended up. Amechi helped to kill the aspirations of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Amechi didn't get to where he was promised. So I think Soludo has also done Peter Obi some good, because Soludo has shown that Peter Obi is not an Igbo candidate. No, he's a Nigerian candidate. And that's one thing I will tell other people to look at. Soludo has been nice to Peter Obi by trying his luck and seeing the avalanche of reactions against his position by Nigerians from all walks of life. So I would say, like Ejike Mbaka, the transactional pastor, like Ike Kweremadu, like Shota Emeka from Imo State, like you now have Professor Soludo, all those amongst the Igbo elite who belong to the transactional political section who have tried their luck have only helped Peter Obi to be seen by other Nigerians that Peter Obi is not an Igbo project. Peter is a Nigerian project. Today, embraced mostly in the Middle Belt because of the fear of the people of the Middle Belt to Buhari's use of nepotism to force the army to stay hands and not to react to the slow motion civil war in the Middle Belt brought about by the Bororo Fulani militiamen, all in quest for ancestral lands as a way to carry through Buhari's agenda of resettling Fulanis from all over the place, including those running away from Yemen due to the current civil war in Yemen in Nigeria. Nigerians, like other Africans, are emotionally attached to land. We will not give up our land for people who come from outside. And the use of ethnic cleansing, I believe, as a policy, will fail. We are asking this question because of Buhari's mistakes. But I can also tell you, we need to be grateful to President Buhari. Why do I say so? President Buhari's incompetence in managing our diversity as people of different ethnicities has also forced new awareness in Nigeria, and I believe that new awareness, has now brought this new awakening and getting Nigerians now to discuss this way. In light of the mistakes of President Buhari, we are now discussing about how to forge a greater country. Let it be on record. The reasons why I am against separatism is because I believe there is more to be gained from a bigger Nigeria. There is more advantage for us, Ndibo, in a larger Nigeria. There is more to be gotten from sharing from the full carton instead of taking a shot of brandy. Why did I take a shot of brandy when I can own the entire bottle, when I can own the entire carton? That's why I stand. And I support the Igbos who think they can find a better country if they are able to build a national consensus to other Nigerians to demand for a better society instead of embracing separatism.
Thank you very much, Dr. Katch. My last question to you before I let you go is, in listening, during the conference, in listening to what was said, Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed was saying that Igbo should work for consensus, whereas Pa Ayo Adebanjo disagrees. Pa Ayo Adebanjo forcefully, in his argument, basically stated that it is not about consensus or anything, that it is entirely the right of Ndibo, consensus or not, that he has been in the forefront of that. And your response to that?
Chief Ayo Adebanjo is correct. What he says is very simple. If you're asking the Igbos to be part of Nigeria, why don't you want to accept them? And if you look at this crime problem we have, it is not all Nigerians that have been against the Igbo. It is those who think that they can succeed at their quest towards state capture. The Igbos are the most that any Nigerian can wish for. The Igbos are the best Nigerians. The Igbos have done the best out of Nigerian politics, because the essence of politics, as me and you know, is the struggle for power and then to use such power to improve the status of your constituents. The Igbos have done very well in that particular state. What we're now talking about is nation building and the issue of inclusion. the Igbos need to be included in the thoughts and plots and mindset of those who seek a better Nigeria, a more inclusive Nigeria, a workable Nigeria that's available to the aspirations of all. Chief Adebanjo insists, and I agree with him, you cannot insist on the Igbos to be part of Nigeria and you do not want them to be part of the sharing. And in this case, the sharing of an inclusive power arrangement. Chief Adebanjo is correct. What my friend Dr. Babahmed had been saying is that Igbos come and negotiate. Negotiate with who? Today, Igbos have the best candidate on the campaign trail, Mr. Peter Obi. Embrace him for the good of Nigeria. You want to embrace Mr. Tinubu, who will be soon disqualified for perjury? Or is it you want to be happy about his history of indictment, which forced a forfeiture in the drug trade? I don't think that is good. Is it Atiku you're talking about, who is a member of my party, the PDP, but chose to run to Dubai to stay for 2 years and 8 months, only to come back to Abuja to use money in buying delegates? What kind of thing do you want to bring? I don't think so. Let us look at that which the people have embraced. Peter Obi. Peter Obi has everything that it takes. Why the resistance against Peter Obi, now that the Nigerian people in their numbers suddenly now embrace him? I believe that is the right thing that Chief Adebanjo is saying. If something is good, embrace it. Don't give a reason it is good, but I don't want it because of the color of his skin or the tone of his language. Peter Obi is what I think we need now to bring a closure to the civil war. And that's why it was important that General John Atonkpera came here. He was a civil war general. He was also one of the original coupists going back to the 66. And he is still alive today. And he is here to cheer it. And they are talking about what nation do they, the generals who succeeded in ending the war, want to bequeath to a generation of Nigerians. That's why John Atonkpera is here to say them who won at the end of the Civil War seek an inclusive Nigeria, where his people, the TV, would not, as they suffer today, having 2 million internal displaced persons in Benue State. Why? Some Fulanis from Mali seek to sack them from their ancestral land and then take that land. And as I was speaking to you, Buhari has told the army to stay hence. That is not the Nigeria we want. That is not negotiation. I believe a country where everybody can find a sense of belonging is the ideal Nigerian that Chief Adebanjo is speaking about.
Thank you very much, Dr. Katch Onunuju. It's always a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you, Mazin Zuki. I'm very grateful to be with you.
Thank you very much.
As you can see, members of the Southern Caucus were yesterday now renamed the Integrity Group. And they have stated openly that they will support everything Mr. Peter Obi is doing. They are talking about this in quest towards nation building. That's why when they came back from London, they said they're no more talking about as anything as a political party. They are now looking beyond the party and considering nation building. That's the announcement you had by the governors led by Governor Wike. Most of us are saying you don't need to move. Stay in the PDP. Do exactly what you saw in 2015 that was done by those led by Atiku, the MPDP. They stayed in the PDP and they did anti-party. So if we could learn from the activities of our chairman, Muazu, activities of Governor Sule Lamido and Governor Babangida Aliyu in 2015, there's nothing wrong with borrowing a page from their manual and repeating the same, because why? Nobody has monopoly on brazenness.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.